It is the Riot Podcast, the Thursday, March 30th edition. Happy March 30th to you. Happy opening day in baseball. If you missed it yesterday on the RadioU Riot Facebook page and YouTube channel, we had a after show. Isaiah, you were there.
I was there.
I was there. And we had special guests, Nene from the afternoons and Tyler from weekends on RadioU. And for him, it was his first. For Nene, it was his second. How do you think they did?
Nene and Tyler?
Yeah.
I thought that they put on a stellar performance.
You thought it was they passed the test of flying colors?
I think that, there's always improvements that can be made in any walk of life when you're doing something for the first or second time.
Okay. You're talking about them.
Oh, of course.
You're saying they need to do better.
I'm not saying they need to do better. I'm saying there's always improvements that can be made.
Okay. So what improvements could I make?
Oh, so what could you do better?
Yeah, you're saying there's always improvements, so go ahead. Let's hear it.
Starting off with you, and you want me to do this is based off the after show yesterday?
Yeah.
See, I just think that maybe our roles could have been pronounced a bit better.
What do you mean?
Nene was kind of hosting it.
He kind of took charge a little bit, didn't he?
Which was kind of your role.
Yeah. I shouldn't let him walk all over me like that.
He did kind of walk all over you.
Yeah.
He was kind of the star of the show.
All right, next time we have him in, I'll be more authoritative.
You could be a little bit more top doggish.
I'll take the reins.
He kind of top dogged you.
Yeah.
He hot dogged on you.
That's right.
On your own show.
Yeah. I can't have that.
No.
Who's in charge of this thing?
That was what was crazy.
It's me. All right. What could you improve on?
See, I think as of late, I've been just too negative recently.
You're too negative? I think about that for myself all the time.
I think I've been too negative recently. I think I need to turn the corner, be more positive. I just haven't been happy enough as of late.
Yeah.
I've been too irritable. I've been too negative recently. I think I need to be a little bit more happy, positive.
Start looking on the sunny side of things.
I used to be so happy, positive all the time, and then I hung out with you guys for a long period of time, and now I'm just so negative.
I know it is. That's tough. I'm the same way. I don't mean to be negative, and I think in life I'm actually an optimistic person.
Me too.
I think when it comes to doing the show, it's so much easier to take a negative stance on stuff.
It is.
And so I'm trying.
It's so easy.
I try to look on the bright side sometimes. So how about this then? Let's talk about three positives from. I'll just do three positives
from the after show.
The after show or today's show, just some positives.
Today's show, but the after show.
Because you just gave some things where you could improve on. What about things that we excelled at lately?
Today's show, I've got all kinds of positives. We both showed up on time.
We were ready to go.
Barely. We both showed up on time. We had a great interview today.
We did. Very well done with Dawson from The Ongoing Concept. We even got to meet his dog.
Oh, yeah.
Which we always appreciate. So
we love that.
And I definitely recommend, if you're listening to the podcast right now, I recommend going and watching that interview, seeing Dawson's space. And he mentioned this outside of the interview, and we were talking to him. He said he likes to watch interviews as opposed to listen because he says he thinks people's faces say a lot when they're talking. So take it from Dawson from The Ongoing Concept and go ahead and watch that video on the RadioU Riot Facebook page and YouTube channel. We need one more positive.
Another positive, I would say we gave out some great advice today, and we had a lot of interaction. The text messages, you guys can always text in 8772 RadioU. A lot of interaction today from some of the listeners.
You gave some good advice, some sound financial advice on Apple's new buy now, pay later feature.
Oh, of course. Big financial guy over here.
Yeah.
All my friends are finance bros.
Oh,
Shocker.
Yeah?
Shocker.
So they've rubbed off on you then.
They have, yep.
All right. Well, that's listen for that and enjoy the podcast. And Isaiah and I will be back with you tomorrow.
And we'll see you guys soon.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
What is the longest camping trip you've ever been on? Text in at 8772 RadioU. Isaiah, your answer?
3 days. 4 days.
That's it? 4 days?
3 or 4 days, yeah.
Were you staying in a tent?
I have stayed in a tent. I've also stayed in a camper.
Camper's not the same, though, right?
Yeah, it's different.
I think that's what Nikki's doing right now.
Yeah, it's
in a
still,
camper.
I would consider it still camping.
Yeah, I mean, it's still camping, but it's not the same, though.
It's not quite the same,
It's not quite the same. That's not really roughing it, which is what I have a boy here. His name is Max Woosie. He's from the UK, and he's been roughing it for the last 3 years. He just spent his final night in a tent, completing a 3-year stretch where he slept in his tent for 3 straight years in his family's backyard is where it all started in March of 2020. And he set the Guinness World Record for doing such a thing, sleeping in a tent for so long. Isn't that? And I said, boy, he was only 10 years when he got started, so he's 13 years old now. What do you make of it?
Well, he's not really roughing it.
What do you mean?
Look at the background of the photo.
It's a tiny tent. It only
He's in
sleeps
his
one
own
person.
backyard.
Yeah, but
He's just outside his house.
it's rougher than being inside.
That is not roughing it.
It's kind of roughing it.
He's just in his backyard.
He doesn't even have an air mattress in there.
He's not even camping.
He
just hangs out all night in his living room, and then he walks outside, lays down, and goes to sleep. That's different from being in the elements all day long.
Well, it's still camping, though.
It's not camping at all. He's just sleeping outside.
It's at least as much camping as being in a camper.
No,
or RV.
being in a camper is way more camping than this is.
When you're in a camper, you're always in your living room. It's just tinier.
But you're forced to be outside. Like, he is not forced to be outside.
No, he's not forced. But why would anybody force themselves? He's doing it.
That's what camping is.
Now, let me stop you right there and tell you that he's actually doing this for a reason besides just he wants to go sleep in a tent. It is for a good cause. He's raised over $860,000 for hospice care, that's super nice. It almost brings a tear to your eye because the reason he started this whole thing is his neighbor, Rick Abbott, died of cancer in 2020. And the boy says before his neighbor died of cancer, he gave him a tent and told him to have an adventure. And then me thinking in my very idiotic and mean brain, I was like, oh yeah, you're going to have an adventure in your backyard. But because he started this project, this has taken him all over the place. Because he's kind of blown up on social media. It's the Boy in the Tent project on social media and everything. And so this has given him the opportunity. He hasn't just been sleeping in his backyard in this tent. He's also gone to locations such as the London Zoo, number 10 Downing Street, which is there's a garden there. That is the Prime Minister's house, I believe. And then I don't know anything about rugby, but he also stayed at the Twickenham Rugby Grounds. So he's been all over the UK. He's got to go to some pretty crazy locations and sleep in his tent there as well, and raised a bunch of money for a good cause. It just took him 3 years to do it.
I wonder if he's been sleeping outside in the cold.
He's done it every night for 3 years.
See, that's what I wonder.
And the UK has gone through some historic heat waves and cold snaps in that time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so that's what I wonder is how it really worked with the elements. Like if it's 10 degrees outside, how do you sleep out there?
Keep in mind that historic heat waves and cold snaps in the UK are a lot different than historic heat waves and cold snaps in the United States.
Yeah, I don't really know their climate much.
Think of Seattle. You just went to Seattle. It doesn't get too extreme
75
there.
all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty much the UK. So somehow, some way, he was able to spend 3 years. How many nights do you think? You're saying he's not roughing it. How many nights, if you were forced to go sleep in a tent in your yard?
How much money am I making?
He didn't make any money. He didn't make any money.
Well, then I'm not spending one night
for a good cause.
I'm not doing one night.
For a good but how long do you think you could go?
I think I could probably go. I could go a bit. Depends on the weather and whatnot. How tired I am. If I get sick, I don't want to get sick.
That's the attitude.
I don't want to be out there if it's cold out there.
The spirit of adventure.
I don't want to get sick.
You'll never have adventures like this young child.
I won't. He roughed it a lot longer than I could have.
Yeah, he's more of a man than you'll ever be.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Today is opening day for baseball.
Boom.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Feels grand.
Does it feel like spring has sprung?
It's feeling close. We're feeling real close.
I'm sure the weather for the entire country is going to turn around starting today We're going to start to, in connection with baseball, it's just going to become a beautiful springtime season. You have a couple questions I want to ask you about opening day for baseball. One, why should people watch baseball this year? Especially if they've gotten out of it, or because you're going to watch. I assume.
I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch some games.
You bet your bottom dollar I'll be watching today when the Red Sox take on the Orioles. So why do you think people should get into baseball this season?
I think that this is a year that maybe if you've fallen out of love with baseball for a while, maybe you get back into it, and this is why. We get some rule changes.
Ooh.
We got some rule changes, some
Let's
new
hear it.
things. One of them being the game's going to be a little bit faster.
Okay.
Because now there is a timer on the pitchers, right?
Yes.
In between
Love
pitches,
that. Love
a little
that.
faster.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be
Keep
pitching them
things
off.
moving.
Second thing, bases are a little bigger.
Okay.
People be stealing a little more.
Oh, I love the steals.
People be running the bases a little more. And so that's the second thing. So if you like a little more action on the offensive side,
A little more motion.
there's going to be some more.
Okay. Anything else? I mean, there's other rule changes.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Did they keep the one where there's the guy in extra innings that's on second base?
Yeah, I mean, that's been the way it's been for a couple of years, and they just made that permanent, which is stupid. But that's only when it gets to extra innings anyways. And a lot of people don't like, actually, if you're a casual, a lot of people don't like when it gets to extra innings. You're like, I just want to go to bed or
I
go
want it to be
home.
over.
Yeah, I don't want.
So they try to make it faster.
Exactly.
By putting somebody on second.
They are trying to speed that up for you.
And they took out the shift too, right?
They've banned the shift in the infield, which, again, to a casual fan, if you're somebody who doesn't tune into baseball all that much, you might not even know what the shift is. But the shift is just where you position your infielders in baseball, and it has led to several hitters around the league. It makes it more difficult for them to hit. But now
more base running again.
I all this stuff. I'm with you. I think offense is going to be up. I don't love and agree with all the rule changes, but I think overall it's going to lead to more offense, more action, more scoring, and quicker games, which all sounds really great. So I think this is a big year for baseball.
It is. It'll be a big year for all the rule changes. If they can't get some people to watch this year, it's going to be difficult to get people to watch moving forward.
That's a good point. It could spell doom for baseball if this isn't a big year for baseball. Now tell me this then. Let's get, I want World Series predictions, and I want an MVP. World Series and MVP. Let's hear it. That's
a good question. So the World Series, I think it's going to be kind of a team that's maybe on the come up a little bit. Maybe a couple of young guns that they have a good bullpen. They have for a couple of years now. Some
That's
veterans
what you look
in there
for in a team to make the World Series.
But a bunch of young guns that are ready to turn the corner here. They're a pretty cheap team. We're not really paying anybody too much, but it would be.
What do you mean we?
Them Cleveland Guardians. Them Cleveland Guardians. Watch out for them. I mean, our odds right now are not great. People aren't really believing in us. But I will say
that means a big payoff.
After our run last year, I wouldn't doubt us either.
Yeah.
And you're looking for an MVP. I mean, if my prediction is correct, it would be none other than Jose Ramirez.
Okay.
How you like me now?
Jose Ramirez. Doesn't he get shifted a lot?
He gets moved around a little bit.
So maybe the shift being banned will help him out a little bit.
Help him out,
yeah. He's already one of the best hitters. I am going to go with, I'm trying to think of what I really want to say here because I'm going to be held to this.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
Give me the Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
Yeah. Give me the Dodgers. I think they'll figure it out. You got Mookie Betts there. That's all you need when you ask me. He'll be MVP. Give me Mookie Betts for MVP. And a little surprise for you, the Red Sox. I don't even know the guy's name. They got a new Japanese guy. He's been tearing it up in the World Baseball Classic, and he's going to be Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
That's what I'm holding out hope for. That's the best I can hope for.
That's
for the Red
what you're
Sox
hoping for the Red Sox.
We'll get Rookie of the Year. And maybe they'll surprise and almost make the playoffs. That's the best
almost.
I feel.
Yeah, just close enough to break your heart.
Which is not how it's supposed to be with the Red Sox. Should be better than this.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
Now, how would you feel if your boss said to you, you know what, every so often I'm just going to come and I'm going to do your job?
That's fine.
Yeah, you'd be cool if our boss.
I'm
here,
totally fine with that.
if Michael said, Isaiah, once a
do
month.
some of your work.
Once a month, let me come and I want to do what you do. I want to spend a day in your shoes.
You know what? I want you to too.
You want to show them what it's
That
like.
sounds grand.
Show
Yeah.
them the ropes.
Come on down here.
It does. It actually doesn't sound that bad, does it?
It doesn't sound too bad, no.
That is exactly what Starbucks' new CEO is planning on doing. His name, Laxman Narasimhan. I'm going to go with that. Laxman, the new Starbucks CEO. We'll just call him Laxman because that's an awesome name, too.
It is a good name.
I wish my name was Laxman. You know what I tell people all the time? She's like, Lax, man. Take it easy. That's what I'd say.
That's
That'd
pretty
be like,
good.
yeah. And he is not taking it easy. He has pledged that as Starbucks CEO, he plans on at least one day every month spending a day as a barista.
He doesn't look like a barista to me.
He doesn't, does he?
I know what a good barista looks like.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't like that.
What
He's in
is
a
it?
suit.
What you want to describe what a barista
I can give you a great depiction of what a barista looks like.
The best barista.
The best baristas, they look pretty artsy.
Uh-huh.
They've got like little hand tattoos as well. It's like
Hand
little baby
tattoos.
ones.
Probably like a flower or
the
something.
Trendy, flower behind the ear.
Uh-huh.
The trendy little hand tattoos. They're wearing pretty like artsy clothing. I'm talking like baggy-esque jeans.
Different color hair.
The different colored hair is another way.
Unnaturally colored hair.
Yep, a different colored hair as well. Just very, very artsy, craftsy, because they had to be able to put the little design in the coffee.
That's
so
right.
you can't be a barista if you're not a little bit artsy. He's
You
not really
ask
giving
for
me.
that? You ask for the design in the
I've
coffee?
never really
What do you
ordered.
want? You want a leaf?
I never really ordered a design. I don't know
Okay.
how to do that. I didn't even know that was an option.
But you
really.
do have to be artsy to do it.
Yeah, you had to be a little bit artsy. He doesn't really give me artsy vibes.
Well, but it's important, right? Maybe a person who looks like a barista wouldn't give you CEO vibes, but he needs to be able to understand what the people that are working for him are going through, don't you think? What a day in their life is like.
Yeah, I guess so.
How hard it is to be a barista every single day. And he's just going to do it every once in a while. You think it's harder to like do one job you never do once a month? Because then it's like you forget how to do it.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, but that's what he's doing. So he's going to step, that Starbucks is going to be, the line's going to be out the door. You're going to be just sitting and waiting in the drive-thru. And it's like, sorry, the CEO, it's his barista
He can't
day.
figure it out.
It's his barista day for the month. He chose this Starbucks this time. But it is, I think it's, it's a nice gesture, I think, for him to make sure that he understands what his workers are going through. I think if he wants to take it even further, you know what he could do?
What?
He could take a barista's salary.
For maybe a month.
Yeah, and see what that's like.
That's a good idea.
Isn't that a good idea?
That's a much better idea.
That'd be a cool idea.
Yeah, that way you can really see, like, really sit in their shoes,
Yeah, and Starbucks has had,
feel their lifestyle.
One of the reasons they even have a new CEO is because they've had a lot of different Starbucks, or like the workers are unionizing. And Starbucks, I mean, in some ways, treats their employees nicely compared to other places, which maybe just means other places don't treat their employees very well. But, but still, the workers are complaining they want more. It's hard to live on a barista life sometimes. And so that would be another way where he could show that he sees what they're going through, and he's not, and he's on their side.
Can you imagine if any of you that are driving to work today, imagine if your boss, like if they got your paycheck that just came in one day and they looked at it and they were like, this is how much we get paid? This is how much they get paid? And so for Laxman, I think
how am I supposed to live off of this?
What am I supposed to do with this?
Uh-huh.
What is this supposed to get me? Groceries?
I've got a lease.
Yeah.
I've got a lease.
I've got a family to feed here. Yeah, for Laxman, I think that's a better idea. I think you should do the paycheck route.
I think both. Both are good ideas, but I think the paycheck would mean more to everybody.
I think it would for sure.
While Isaiah is wishing for a girlfriend, Nikki and Hudson are just wishing for any friend at all. The Riot. RadioU.
What's the last movie or TV show that made you cry? Isaiah, when was the last time you cried in general? You cry a lot?
I don't even know the last time I cried.
You don't know the last time you cried. So how are you going to answer this question?
I don't know. I know some movies that have made me cry in the past.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the last time that I cried due to a movie.
It's been that long.
I don't even know the last time I cried in general.
Oh, wow. We're
As a
all
man's
impressed.
man.
Yeah, you're so manly. You keep all your emotions bottled up. We get it. So I can tell you, I know the last movie that made me cry, and judge me if you will, but I think most people will understand Marley and Me.
That was years ago.
I know, but I just watched it not that long ago.
Like recently?
Yeah,
That one always comes to mind.
that's a
That's
big
one of the top
crier.
movie criers.
And
Because like no one can be upset with you for being sad about a dog.
who can
No one can hate on you for that.
Yeah, how can you criticize that? And I'll tell you, Marley and Me, not that great of a movie. Like the actual whole movie itself, not that good. But when it gets to the point where you're getting towards the end there, that is, it'll hit you, and it'll hit you hard. I know another movie that has recently made me cry, and this shows you that like Marley and Me was recent because the other movie that made me cry I watched right before the Oscars, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is another one. I actually think the movie is kind of overrated. I mean, it won Best Picture. It wasn't my best picture, but did it make me cry? Yes.
Wow.
And for anybody who's seen it, you're probably thinking, oh, he cried at the end. No, I did not cry at the end. Neither did I cry at the hot dog fingers. I cried when the husband is talking about, this is how I fight. I was like, oh, this is emotional right here. It's hitting home.
This is hitting home.
Yeah. So those are the last two that I know recently made me cry. You got any movies that have brought you to tears, Isaiah? You've had some time to think about it.
I don't know if it's brought me to tears, but some of the sadder movies I've seen. What about Interstellar?
Interstellar didn't make me cry.
It was a sad movie.
It does have an emotional punch to it, though. That's fair.
What about Inside Out?
Yeah, I think I've cried at Inside Out.
I don't know if I've ever cried at a movie, but like that one was sad
It tears
as
you
well.
up. Yeah, I mean that's how it is for me too. I don't go full cry, but a tear in my eye. Yeah, that'll happen from time
How
to time.
about Toy Story 3?
Nope, doesn't do it for me.
Doesn't do it for you?
No, but
Not even when they're all like going down the incinerator holding hands?
doesn't do anything.
That does nothing for you?
That's another one.
Not
I
a big
feel
Toy Story fan.
Was a little overrated, but Toy Story 2, when that song comes on and it's Jessie, When Somebody Loved Me.
That's sad.
You got to have a heart of stone if you don't tear up.
That's a sad one.
That's a sad one.
What about The Fox and the Hound?
No, I never liked that movie that much.
That's ridiculous.
Does that make you cry?
What? That's a sad movie.
Yeah, but did it make
What do you think? Where do you think I got Jim, my dog, from? He's a Basset Hound.
Then why didn't you name him Copper?
Because every Basset Hound is named Copper. I'm sure there's someone listening right now that's a Basset Hound or Beagle named Copper.
Good point. All right, so wait, you're listing off movies that make people cry. Did they make you cry?
Not really.
Did they didn't even choke you up a little bit?
I mean, they've definitely choked me up before, but I don't know that they've made me cry.
All right, listen.
Unfortunately.
Listen here. We got some people texting in. You can text in the last movie or TV show that made you cry at 8772 RadioU. And Isaiah, I want you to come back and I want you to be honest. And I want you to tell me a movie that actually got you to tear up a little bit. A movie or TV show.
I'll have to think hard and long.
Yeah, well, maybe some of the text will jog your memory too at 8772 RadioU.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Right now, the question at hand is, what is the last movie or TV show that made you cry? Isaiah's been struggling to figure one out. I said I recently watched Marley and Me, obviously cried at that. Everything Everywhere All at Once did make me cry at one point. You want to hear some of the texts before we get to what makes you cry, Isaiah?
Let's hear it.
Glenn texted in, Passion of the Christ. How can you not cry? The Passion of the Christ.
Sad ones.
Brandon texted in, says American Underdog. That's the new, that's the Kurt Warner movie that came out a while back. I have not seen it, but that sounds like it could be a tearjerker. Now, here's a good one. I was trying to recall if I cried at this movie. Susanna says the newest James Bond movie, the last one with Daniel Craig.
I haven't seen that one.
It has a tearjerker of an ending, or at least I can see why people would cry at it. I just don't know if it was enough to move me to tears or not, which tells you how frequently I guess I get moved to tears by movies. but it was a close call for James Bond. What about this one from Jenna? A Star is Born.
Oh, the Lady Gaga movie,
Yeah.
right? I haven't seen that one either.
You haven't seen that? Maybe you're just not watching the type of movies to get you to cry.
I'd say I'm not a big like sad movie guy.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna watch like anything but a Pixar or Disney movie, those are really the only sad ones I'll watch.
And those are pretty effective. I'll say for A Star is Born, that's another one, and I'm sensing a theme here is that I didn't enjoy the movie A Star is Born, but did it get me pretty choked up near the end of the movie? I will admit yes. And in fact, even if I hear the song, not Shallow, but like the song that plays at the end of the movie, it can get me going a little bit.
Get you going? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so have you thought of anything yet?
I've thought of some more sad ones, but I mean, for me to cry, I don't know. How about this one, though? This is regarded as probably the saddest Pixar movie.
Okay.
Up.
What, at the beginning?
Yeah, like when his wife dies.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
I mean, it's the whole premise of the movie.
Yeah.
That's like one of the saddest scenes in Pixar movie history.
That's one of the saddest scenes in movie history.
It is. So that one...
And it just hits you with a knockout punch.
Oh, it just lingers.
5 minutes into the movie.
It just lingers the whole movie. It's just heart-wrenching.
My controversial take on Up is, again, that the beginning little thing is, it's amazing. It's one of the great, 5 minutes of movie history. And it does bring you to tears, but the rest of the movie is just okay.
Just all right.
It's a mid-Pixar movie if you take that first part away. But talking of Pixar movies, another one that I recall specifically bringing me to tears, Soul. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Soul is a crier for me.
That one was also listed as a pretty sad one.
Yeah. Jonathan texted in. He says, we're going with animated movies again here from Disney. Raya and the Last Dragon.
Raya and the Last Dragon.
You didn't see that one? Disney Plus.
It's
Give it a shot.
I haven't seen it yet.
Saw it. I don't think it made me cry. How about Emily? This is a classic. Homeward Bound.
Now that's a sad movie.
That is a sad movie.
That's a sad movie.
Try to keep a straight face watching that. What about this one? Avengers Endgame.
That's a sad one.
Did you cry at Endgame?
When, spoiler alert, Iron Man dies.
Oh, that's what made you cry.
That's the saddest part of the movie, I think.
See, again, spoiler alert. I got
No,
teared
you
up.
didn't. When everybody came back.
Yes, when all of the people were coming through the portals.
I got
was
chills.
They're all working together.
I got chills. I'm like, that's like everybody's back. But you knew they were coming back. I didn't know Iron Man was going to die.
No, I don't mean when everybody is brought back to life. I mean when they're getting ready to fight Thanos and the portals open up.
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah, I'm here to fight. And I'm here. Yeah. And they're all.
Yeah, I thought that they would all come back.
Yeah, that hurt me.
See, I think when Iron Man died, that was real sad.
Yeah.
For me. I think another scene in a movie that got me close. What about Finding Nemo?
Ooh, Finding
the opening
Nemo.
scene. You kind of forget that's a sad movie.
Yeah, I don't know if that one.
When the Barracuda just thrashes all of his children.
Yeah, I mean that is upsetting.
Sad.
It is upsetting.
What about and his wife as well? And how about this one? Lion King.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was too young when I watched Lion King a million times, so I think that got me out of it desensitized me to it. Because if you watch Lion King, I mean that's a sad
scene
when Mufasa dies and then Simba's there all sad. Yeah, you know what? Maybe if I watch that again, it might get me.
That's sad.
Yeah, we've got Ruben, 13 Reasons Why TV show.
That's
Netflix.
sad.
Yeah, man. Do you feel like you're a little more emotionally vulnerable now?
It's funny because we didn't list any of the true sad movies.
What do you mean?
We didn't really list any of the typical sad movies that people would list, like The Notebook, The Fault in Our Stars, those kind of movies.
Well, we don't watch those.
Yeah, we don't watch those.
And I don't know if maybe the people that do watch those aren't texting in.
Yeah, probably not. They're like, these aren't even that sad.
Yeah.
Those movies are
Once
really
we started
sad.
talking about Avengers Endgame making us cry.
They're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, this isn't the type of show for me, maybe. But I had one more, and this is a real downer. You ever seen The Boy in the Striped Pajamas? It's a Holocaust movie.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah. I don't know if I would advise it because it's just upsetting. But
It's real sad.
Yeah.
I can imagine that's pretty sad.
But I mean, if you're going to cry at something, I guess that that feels worthy.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Now, sometimes it seems like those Kardashians, they'll just do anything to be in the news. For example, Kourtney Kardashian. Did you see what she posted yesterday on Instagram, Isaiah? You follow Kourtney?
I do not follow Kourtney.
But did the algorithm show this to you?
It didn't give it to me, unfortunately.
That's disappointing. Kourtney Kardashian has got a lot of heat directed at her in the comments of her latest Instagram post from yesterday, where, it's just a few standards. There's a picture of her in a tracksuit. There's a picture of her, what seems to be brushing her teeth. And then there's the picture that's setting the stage for her. It looks like she's going to have a bubble bath. Somebody's drawn a bath. And all around the bath, in the bathroom, various food items that she's going to be snacking on, perhaps while in the bubble bath. You've got chicken tenders, macaroons, strawberries, a bowl of fruit, bottles of champagne, everything you need for a nice bubble bath. Now, a lot of people, do you see the flaw with this post, Isaiah?
What's the flaw?
Well, the flaw, according to many of her Instagram followers, is that she has food in the bathroom. Problematic, would you say?
I think it's a bit odd. I think it's a bit weird.
You've never eaten in the bathroom?
Not really.
No?
I'm not a big food eater in the bathroom. I feel kind of weird bringing anything in there.
Even your phone?
Phone's fine. But if I have my water, which is open at the top.
Yeah.
If I bring that in there when I'm going to the bathroom, it's kind of odd.
You're afraid it's going to get bathroom air in it?
Precisely.
It's going to infect the water, and somehow you'll get sick?
Just splashback as a man.
Where are you holding
Well, if I said it anywhere.
Bottle?
You know what they say? If you go to the bathroom and you have anything within 6 feet, it's getting contaminated with urine.
Well, then that just means everything's getting contaminated.
Yeah, but
that's why you wash your hands.
But that's why you don't bring food in there.
Well, what about when you're taking a bath, though?
See, I think bath, it's a little bit different, but I don't know. I'm not a big bath taker.
Baths are all about relaxation.
It is.
And so what do you do to relax? Some people get that bottle of champagne, and some people, you got to just chill out with some of your favorite foods, some macaroons and chicken tenders.
I think if you're doing a glass of wine or something in the bath, appropriate, or a thing of champagne or something, or whatever you want to drink, I think that's fine in the bath. Food-wise, if you want to do fresh fruit, I think that's fine. If you're doing...
fresh fruit in the bath?
Fine.
You think that's cool?
I think that's fine.
I think of all the foods that would get contaminated, it feels like fruit might be one of the most susceptible.
See, I just think
it's so porous.
I think that fruit, fresh fruit, is fine in the bath because it fits the vibe. You got to fit the vibe.
But chicken tenders don't fit the vibe.
Don't fit the vibe.
I think the bath is probably the best place to eat chicken tenders because if your hands get dirty, you just dip them in the soapy water, clean them off. Get all the chicken grease off.
That's
of them.
gross.
I think that's actually smart. Which actually means
what happens if you drop a chicken tender in the bath?
Charge it to the game.
You stay in there. But what if you drop a strawberry in the bath? Doesn't feel as gross. You're not losing breading.
Yeah.
You just pick it up, you throw it out.
Yeah, you're not going to eat it. You drop too much food in the bath, all of a sudden you're turning yourself into a stew.
It might add a little bit of essence.
Yeah. So I would like to hear from people that aren't commenting on our Instagram but are listening. 8772 RadioU. Food in the bathroom. Food and drinks in the bathroom. When is it okay? When is it not? Text in and let us know what you think. I think I'm more pro food in the bathroom. I mean, every room in the house is dirty when you really think about it. So why is the bathroom any different? Isaiah, anti food in the bathroom.
Except for fruit, wine, and any kind of champagne drinks.
Okay. 8772 Radio.
But no handhelds. I want hamburgers in there.
Hey, they're already eating anyways. Might as well do it on the show. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. Radio U.
Now, Isaiah, you're an Apple user, aren't you? You got an old Apple iPhone.
Oh, I got one of them iPhones.
Yeah. Did you notice the new feature that's been added to your Apple phone recently?
I have not.
Did you know that Apple now offers what they call, I guess it's called Afterpay. and it is an option where you can basically buy whatever you want with your Apple Pay now, but not have to pay all at once. It's a buy now, pay later option.
Interesting. For like everything or what?
I think for I mean, I don't know what they're going to limit you with this. It looks like you can just, like, if you're using Apple Pay, this is just another option that you can go ahead and do. And so how it works is you pay a quarter of, like not a quarter, not 25 cents. I mean, like you pay one installment out of 4 installments up front for your whatever it is you're purchasing. And then you would have to pay the other 3 installments over the course of the next 6 weeks.
I see it.
Yeah. So you could try that out. And as I understand it here, no interest or fees. Now, that's a nice feature.
That is a nice feature.
You going to be making use of this now that I've alerted it to you? Alerted you to it?
I usually buy things in full.
Yeah.
I don't usually
But think of all the things you could buy now that you couldn't before.
See, but I think that good financial management should be...
Oh, don't go being responsible.
You should never buy something that you can't afford.
But you can afford it now thanks to Apple Pay Later. Apple Afterpay.
Yeah, but it's just not safe.
You can afford it now, and it's something that you just space it out. You space out the payments. You're not paying any extra for doing that. It's a service. It's actually really nice of Apple to do that for you.
The thing is, the reason, I'll tell you why, the reason that there is no charge for it, for you to do it, is because they know that people are going to mess up. They're not going to pay for it. And then you're going to get punished.
You're going to get punished?
Yeah, then that's when they get you. They're going to hit you with some fees.
What's the punishment?
I mean, if you don't pay your installments, that's when they're going to hit you with major fees.
Let's say I'm buying something for $400.
Okay.
Let's play this out. I don't have $400 today, but I got $100. And 2 weeks from now, the next payday, because, that's how they staggered it out, 2 weeks, will I have another $100? Sure, I will.
Hopefully.
And I only need to do that 4 times. I only need to do that 4 times.
Yeah, but then if you don't pay one of them, what happens?
Well, you got to pay them.
You have to pay them. Yeah. But they're just counting on people being irresponsible.
Well, don't let that be you. You're irresponsible. You'll do it, right?
Yeah, but I would never buy something that I cannot afford.
I think you're missing out on a whole lot of fun.
See, think
about all the fun you could have.
I think it's bad. It's like the same people who just run up credit card debt. Yeah. This is the exact same thing.
But that's with fees, though. That's interest.
Yeah, but this is going to do this. This is going to do the same thing to you.
Except it's going to cost you less.
Yeah, but you're going to end up not being able to pay it off, and then they're going to get you. They're going to get you. I'm just saying, I'm trying to give people good advice. I'm not going to endorse something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it.
Well,
I think it's bad financial advice.
It probably is. I will say that even if you can afford stuff, I think if you really are responsible and you do this the right way,
this is good.
You can use this to your advantage. But I also feel like, nevertheless, even if I can afford the stuff, I feel like when I get that bill coming every 2 weeks, when I see oh yeah, I bought that thing 2 weeks ago.
That was so dumb.
And it's just going to be a reminder of the stupid thing I bought 2 weeks ago that now 2 weeks later, I'm like, I didn't even need that.
That's the nice thing about if you pay for something in full, even if it was a stupid purchase, at least it's behind you now.
There's no reminders.
When you buy something dumb, then when you get that oh crap, I'm buying something dumb and this is going to take 2 months to pay off. Oh my gosh.
Every time that student loan payment.
Because then you have the
thing. Or
that
car payment comes and you're like, man, why did I spend the money? Why did I buy this? Why did I choose this?
Then you've got the massage gun at your house and you're not even using it, and you're like, dang, it's crazy that I'm throwing another $25
bucks
at this thing.
You take a payment plan out on a massage gun?
I'm saying whatever the dumb item you purchased is, whatever it is, you have it at your house and you aren't even using it.
You know what the worst is? I think since this is through Apple Pay, you could do this for really anything. So
anything.
You could go have a night on the town. You go to one restaurant and just be like, hey, everybody, I'm buying, or something stupid like that.
Oh my gosh.
And then all of a sudden you're paying for that 6 weeks later.
You're going out to dinner with them again and you're like, actually, I'm still paying for...
Any of you guys have Afterpay for this one?
Yeah, I'm still paying for that last one.
The last time.
Oddly enough. They did it for everything, like shoes, food, anything.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on RadioU.
Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a massive hole that has opened up on the sun. They call it a coronal hole. Have you heard about this, Isaiah? The coronal hole?
I have not heard of this.
The coronal hole you might be thinking, what is that and why does it affect me? The coronal hole, I'm not going to get into all of the details about how holes open up on the sun. But I will tell you that the problem with the coronal hole is that the coronal hole blasts solar winds. And so the reason that solar winds are a problem is because then they can reach Earth. When the solar winds from the coronal hole reach Earth, that is when we can start to experience the effects. And that may actually start to take place tomorrow. We might see some effects from the coronal hole.
And when you say effects?
When I say effects, I mean in some worst case scenarios, the solar winds from the coronal hole can affect astronauts and spacecraft because they can damage them. They can also, I guess you would still consider it a spacecraft, but satellites orbiting Earth could be damaged as well, could go out of commission. And I don't think we realize how many satellites are up there.
A lot of satellites.
And how much they affect. But that is also a concern. And one more concern is that it will affect GPS, because that's obvious, right? Those are global positioning satellites. So your GPS may be affected when coronal holes blast solar winds towards Earth. Now, the cool thing is that when a coronal hole opens up and blasts solar winds towards Earth, the one positive is that you could see the aurora borealis, the northern lights. And they can, some people say, so there was a previous coronal hole that opened up a few days ago, and that actually caused northern lights to be seen as far south as Arizona, which is unusual, very unusual. So
Arizona, that's far.
That is, yeah.
Could we go farther? Could we go more eastern?
Could we go I feel like the farther they go down, it could be dangerous. But
it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Depending on where you live, yeah.
True.
So that's much of what can happen here from this. But in this instance, according to the experts, they say that like the satellite stuff, that in this case, it's probably not too much of a concern. Now, your GPS may be affected over the weekend. That is the one thing that some of the experts are saying, because they say unless the coronal hole has a mass ejection, you can tell if a coronal hole has a mass ejection, that's going to be a mess.
I can imagine.
That sounds like a problem, and that is, according to the experts, that is when it becomes a situation. But in this case, it wasn't a mass ejection. It's just solar winds. They'll affect Earth, maybe some satellite, some GPS issues. But fortunately, I forgot to mention, because another extreme scenario is like power grids can be affected by this as well, because it affects the Earth's magnetic field. Fortunately, all of that, not too much of a concern this weekend. So all that to say, if you're hearing about this coronal hole on the sun, it shouldn't be too big of a deal this time.
Well, don't worry about it.
Rest assured.
You may have some bad GPS this weekend.
If you're trying to navigate, it could be that you can chalk it up. You can blame the sun and its big coronal hole. But other than that, this weekend, hopefully, the rest of your plans, the sun wants no part of it.
Keep your eyes peeled for the northern lights.
That's right.
I'll be on the lookout.
If you're up early or out late this weekend.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
Would you ever consider going back to a dumb phone, what people call a dumb phone?
You mean like a regular flip phone type deal?
Like a flip phone. Apparently in the industry, they call them, in the phone industry, they call them feature phones.
Feature phones.
That's a nice way of putting it.
That is a nice way. I would lean no.
You'd never go back.
Never go back.
I don't know if did you ever have a flip phone, or was it always smartphone for you?
I had like a little flip phone for a portion of time in like middle school for special occasions.
Oh yeah.
When
emergencies.
We were, like, precisely if I like needed it.
Yeah.
And then my first true phone that was mine was an iPhone.
It's funny the lie that your parents tell you when you're a kid is this phone, like your first phone, this is just for emergencies. And you know what? I never had an emergency. And you know what I used a lot? That phone.
Yeah.
Because what, are they going to pay for it and just have it sit there in my pocket doing nothing? Got to put some use to it. It sounds like if some industry experts can be believed that although you aren't considering reverting back to the dumb phone, many people are. And you might be thinking, well, it's probably like your dad, like you're like grown-ups.
Oh, I know who it is.
Adults that grew up with the Motorola Razr or something.
I know who it is.
Who is it?
It's the hipsters.
The hipsters?
Yep.
You think they're going back in time?
They for sure are. They always do.
What's old is new again.
It is.
Were they knew smartphone or dumb phones before they were cool?
Yeah, they had to have.
Well,
who is it?
Well, it's not necessarily hipsters, but it could be. But you might be expecting it's older folks that are just like, they've tried the iPhone and decided I don't need all the features. I'm going back to the good old days. But that's not what is driving the increase in demand for dumb phones. What actually is younger people that are realizing that have valid concerns about all the screen time and all the notifications and all the TikToking and Instagramming, and they're like, I don't need all this. I think it'd be healthier for me if I just have a dumb phone and cheaper to boot. And so there are many Gen Zers that are now making the switch, and industry experts expect that it's going to the dumb phone is going to have a little more of a resurgence over the next several years. Could you see it happening?
No.
You don't see it? You don't see it?
I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine going back to what would be a typical phone for many reasons to the flip phones. I think one of the big ones is the whole maps thing.
Well, you just, you know what they did in the old days.
I mean, I know what they did. I know what we did.
They had maps.
MapQuest.
They had MapQuest. You had to
you just printed out directions.
You printed it out.
And you think people are doing that nowadays? No.
Yeah. I think the dumb phone thing might sound like, to me, on the surface, it does sound like a good idea. Yeah, I spend too much time on my phone. I need to use my time more wisely. I should stop staring at it and start, pondering thoughts and stuff like that, writing books, helping people with my intellect. But then I think you get like 2 days into having a dumb phone instead of a smartphone, and you'll realize, well, this was idiotic of me.
You realize how much you really rely on the iPhone.
I need to check my bank balance.
Yep.
I need to navigate somewhere. I need to listen to a podcast.
I need to Venmo somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't do any of that.
Can't do anything.
Phone.
You cannot do a darn thing.
You won't believe how inconvenient it is.
Your email, when you're checking that?
Not on a dumb phone. You're not.
Nope, you're not.
So I think on the surface I understand, and I do. I'm with everybody else in the thought process of dialing it back on the smartphone, but that doesn't mean dumb phone.
It's too far. You've dialed too far back. One edge of the spectrum to the other. You can't be doing that.
You've gone too far. But even though we're not into it, the industry says others will be.
I hope that they do. I hope that people go back and start using those, because then I'll seem that much smarter with the use of the Safari on my phone.
Because you can just Google.
I can just Google everything. Oh my gosh, you can't Google it?
Uh-huh.
I guess I'll have to handle that question.
Here.
You've made it all the way to the end of the Worst of the Riot. This show only exists because of support from listeners like you. Find out more and help out at RadioU.com/donate.